Hi there, and welcome back to Grimdark Grotto. I'm Stephen, and today we're going to be looking at the basic prep work for our models before we get ready to really paint them earnestly and in detail. So today we'll be looking at removing mold lines, abrasions, and also priming the miniature. So to start off with this video, we're going to be showing you how to get rid of the mold lines. The way that mold lines pretty much appear on our miniatures, as you can see with my Glamorous Assistant Be'lakor here, is when the model is cast. Two molds will come together with the liquid of the metal, plastic or resins poured into this cast, which will eventually cool and harden, and the two casts will come away. And then sometimes these little lines will appear, which are the mold lines. It's not necessary to get rid of them, but it does help for a neater finish on your miniatures. And as well, we're going to be looking at removing these little pieces of sprue. So we'll be going over our mold lines and abrasions with a scalpel and a file as well. If there are any young people watching and you'd like to start removing some of these, make sure you get help from an adult to handle some of these scalpels, as they are very sharp. So to start with, we'll be removing some of these mold lines from his wings. You can see I'm just going to very lightly, with almost no force, just take away the edge of these sprues here. You can also buy some very personalized tools to get rid of mold lines that are quite safe and quite handy. They're basically just a ridged piece of metal that'll help you scrape it away. And personally, I like to use a small needle file as well, and just very lightly get rid of these. Just be careful around the details as you file these, so we're not diminishing any of these sharp hard lines that are intentional. Like I said, it's not essential for you to do this, but it does help for the finish of your miniature if you really want to go for that crisp and clean look. You don't always need to just file them away. If they're not too bad, you can just scrape away the mold lines with a file like this. Now that we've moved our mold lines as well as the abrasions, we're now going to move on to the next key step in model prep, which is adding a primer. Primers are an almost essential part in painting your miniatures to high quality. Primer is basically a spray paint or another type of adhesive paint that will adhere really well to your plastics, metals or other materials. And this will give you a much better surface to paint upon, to build up your layers as well as other details on your miniature. I'm going to be painting my Be'lakor with lots of light tones, with some areas being quite dark, but with the majority of it being a light grey, my colour of choice, I'm going to be choosing a lighter shade for my primer. A lot of people like to use black, as this can hide, so to say, a lot of missed details in the miniature, basically creating a shadow So if there's hard to reach places, they can be left. So keeping my colour scheme in mind, today I'm going to be priming my Be'lakor with Army Painter's Skeleton Bone primer paint. Now to start with, you want to make sure that you are in a very well ventilated area or outside. As you can see here, I've made myself a little setup to catch any residual paint that's going to obviously shoot past this miniature. Be sure to open your windows and make sure as well, if you are younger, that you are allowed to spray paint inside of the house. So I'm going to take my paint of choice. It always helps to also wear masks and gloves as well. Gloves aren't necessary, but I would always advise wearing a mask, especially if you're going to paint a lot of miniatures. When you're priming your miniatures, you can just easily have them standing like this. Or if you'd like, with smaller miniatures that have greater detail, make sure to wear a pair of gloves and you can easily just go around them. You want to just very lightly dust your miniature, not absolutely drench it with the paint. And with just a nice light dusting, that's the Be'lakor model nicely primed. Like I said, you don't want too much on, as we're just wanting enough to cover the surface so our layer paints and base paints will adhere very nicely. And with that done, our model is now ready to be painted with our base paints and layers. Thanks for watching, I hope you've gained something from this video, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.